Hello. What we're going to be learning about today is just some more trig equation examples. So in the last video, I only give you 3 examples of how to write the equation from the graph. So what we're going to do today is just some more examples to get you more comfortable with writing the equation from the graph. So starting out is just our reference. We always have f of x equals the plus or minus, which is if it's negative, it flips over the x-axis. Then we're going to do sine or cosine. Remember, sine starts in the middle, cosine starts at the maximum end. B is the number of waves in 2 pi or 360, and the period is 2 pi over b or 360 over b. Okay, and the midline is your c on the end. Y equals c is the midline, and the amplitude is the absolute value of the a. Okay, so we're going to look at this first example here. The first thing that I always do is the midline. So starting here, you can kind of eyeball this, but the midline is at y equals 1. So our midline is y equals 1. Then our amplitude is how far up and down it goes from the midline. So here you can see it's going up 3 from the midline and down 3 from the midline. Okay, so our amplitude is 3. Then B, if you can see this definitely, then you can use the number of waves in 360 degrees. So let's just go ahead and do that. Here's one wave. Let me just highlight this. Here's one wave. That's how long it takes you to get back to its original. And then your second wave is here. So notice there are 2 full waves. 1, 2. In 360 degrees. So since there are 2 waves in 360 degrees, that is our b here, okay, our b value. So b is 2. And then we're just going to go ahead and write our equation. So we're going to have y equals, okay, sine starts in the middle of the wave on the y-axis. So notice here, this is starting in the middle of the wave. So it's going to be y equals, since this is a sine wave, we're going to put sine, but we already start out with the amplitudes. The amplitude is 3, and it's going to be positive 3 because this is an upward slope. Up, that means positive, okay, so up, positive. So it's going to be 3 sine, and then of, it always goes bx, so 2x, and then plus the midline on the end, so plus 1. Okay, so this is your equation for the first graph. All right, let's look at another example. Example number 2. Okay, we're going to start out drawing midline again. And this one you can kind of eyeball is at -2. So the midline is at y equals -2. Then the amplitude is how far it goes up and down from that. So here it is going up 2 and down 2 from the midline. So this is your amplitude. Then your b is how the number of waves in 2 pi. Okay, but here you can't really tell how many waves are in 2 pi, so we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to have to look at how long it takes to get back to this position. So starting here, it gets back to this position in 3 pi. Okay, so this was your period, 3 pi over 2, sorry, 3 pi over 2. So since it takes it 3 pi over 2, then we need to do 2 pi divided by 3 pi over 2. Okay, 2 pi divided by 3 pi over 2. You keep the 2 pi over 1, change the multiplication, and flip. So it's 2 pi over 1 times 2 over 3 pi. Pi's cancel out, and you just get 2 times 2, which is 4, and then divided by 1 times 3, which is 3. Now we can write our equation. We have y equals, okay, now see how this is starting at the bottom here? Since it's starting at the bottom, that tells me it's going to be a negative. And since it's not starting in the middle of the equation, like here or here, it's going to be cosine, starting at a minimum point. It's going to be -2 cosine of, then this one, 4 over 3x, and then -2 on the end, because that is your midline. Okay, I know I kind of ran out of room for this one, but let me just rewrite this. It's going to be y equals -2 cosine of, and we can actually write this as 4x over 3, and then minus 2 on the end. Okay, again, I'm sorry I ran out of room, but there's your equation. Okay, so let's do another example. This is the example number 3. Again, we're going to eyeball our midline, so we're just going to see what cuts this in half. And what cuts this one in half is positive 3. So y equals 3 is your midline. All right, then we're going to see how far up and down this goes. And it looks like this one is going up 3 and down 3. So our amplitude is 3. And then we're going to see if we can count how many waves happen in 360 degrees. So here, starting there, goes back to it right here. So we can't actually count how many waves happen in 360 degrees. So what we need to see is how long it takes for one wave to happen. So one wave happens in 540 degrees. So we're going to do 360 divided by 540. Okay, and we're going to reduce this fraction. So thinking about the numbers 36 and 54, they're both divisible by 6. Okay, actually they're both divisible by 18. You could have found this out by simplifying it in a calculator or simplifying it online. But since they're both divisible by 18, 360 divided by 180 is 2. And then 540 divided by 180 is 3. Okay, so this simplifies to 2/3. Again, if you type this into your calculator and press math enter, or if you type this into Google and click simplify, it will show you 2/3. Okay, and we use 360 degrees because we're looking in degrees instead of radians. Okay, so now we can write our equation. It always starts with y equals. This is going to be cosine because it's starting at a maximum point. And since it's starting at a maximum point instead of a minimum, it's going to be positive 3 cosine of, and then we're going to write this, 2/3 x, and then add the midline on the end, plus 3. Okay, and let's look at our last example here, example number 4. We're going to start by eyeballing the midline. So midline looks like it's at -1. Then we're going to look at our amplitude. Looks like it's going up 1 and down 1. Then we're going to look at how many waves happen in 2 pi. Okay, so starting here, one wave happens in 2 pi. Perfect. Okay, so since one wave happens in 2 pi, that means that b is 1. And then we're going to look here. This starts in the middle of the wave and it's going down. So this is negative sine. Okay, so it's going to be negative, or y equals negative the amplitude, so -1 sine of, since one wave happens in 2 pi, it's going to be 1x. And then we're going to add the midline on the end, so -1. But this one can be written a little bit differently. We can write it as y equals 1 times anything is itself, so negative sine. 1 times anything is itself, so negative, or x, and then -1 on the end. All right, so hopefully you guys are okay with today. If not, please message me in their mind. I would be so happy to help you. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it and have a great rest of your day. Bye.